Audio Jungle.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to today's event at the NECE Campus 2020. My name is Yannick Petersen from Lab Concepts, from the NECE coordination team, assisting the German Federal Agency for Civic Education in the creation and conduction of this NECE Campus. And I'd like to very, very warmly welcome you to today's first time the NECE Campus is live on Facebook, with today's Pechacha or Pecha Kucha event, Restarting Europe, the Power of Citizenship Education and Civic Engagement. As some of you already know, the NECE Campus is offering a wide range of digital learning and networking opportunities, such as this one, from August till October for stakeholders of citizenship education. And we will also, with this campus, be preparing the agenda for the annual NECE conference in Berlin, which takes place from November 5th to 7th, with 3 thematic clusters revolving around digitalizing citizenship education, the future of Europe, today's topic, and sustainability. For the total duration of this campus, you have the chance to discuss, interact, and network with fellow participants in a various forms of events, and not only in the events itself, but also on our digital facilitation platform, Housepace. So please use this opportunity by posting your questions and comments and by informing yourself about the other activities of the campus. That is all from my side. I would like to hand over now to the facilitator of today's Pechacha session, Mrs. Tanya Murphy-Ilibasic. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Yannick. And again, a welcome from my side, and especially to our speakers who are all lined up ready to get started in just a moment. So just to give people a very quick overview of the Housepace platform that we're using, everyone who is already registered to the platform will be able to go to the page for today's session. If we simply look along the banner, we have September, and in the drop-down menu, it's the Pechacha projects, September 10th, and that's where we are today. So here we have also our speakers on the side, and if you scroll down the page, you don't need this now, this would be for after the session, but if you scroll down the page, you'll see which presentations that you have, our speakers. Here are the possibilities to enter comments. You'll notice that some of the speakers have already dropped a couple of comments into the chat box, so please do feel free to engage with them. And here are the presentations that you're actually going to be watching today as PDFs. You can simply click to open them, and then also just click through them. And here at the top, I have the possibility to just click through the presentation itself. So you'll be able to look back and keep scrolling down the page, and you'll see our other speakers, and finishing up with this one. And here again, we already have questions, so feel free to hop in and also share your comments on that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again for a moment. And we're going to be starting our first presentation immediately, in fact. And Chris, would you like to unmute and say just 2 words before I share the screen? And I will give you a countdown before the presentation actually begins. And it will be a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then you'll be ready to go. So would you like to say anything before I share the screen again?
Hello to everybody. I'm happy to present our project.
Wonderful. Okay, so let me share the screen again, and we'll go to your presentation. Here's your presentation. And as I said, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, then I'll click Start Slideshow. And as soon as it comes up, the animation will then be counting the 20 seconds per slide down. Okay, Chris, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wonderful. 3, 2, 1.
Case for EU is a Jean Monnet project at Leuven University in Belgium. Case teaching about EU rights and values in secondary schools. We want to empower for active citizenship by teacher training and developing didactic materials. If you wonder how to give a new push for democracy in the EU, then this might be something for you. Education for democratic citizenship and EU learning need much more attention. But how to tackle the EU in depth and not just give boring information on institutions? My PhD and book on that matter are the theoretical foundations for this innovation project. We work now in a cooperation of the faculties of law, social science and philosophy, and teacher training at Leuven University. But as a university, we can only go halfway the bridge. We can bring our academic work and materials halfway, and we hope that you are ready to take over the torch and walk the other half of the bridge to adapt it to your learners. To have a stable construction, EU learning should be based on 2 pillars. Like all learning, it should be objective, and it should be critical and pluralistic, with no aims of EU propaganda. How can we construct that? Objectivity can be guaranteed by working with the EU treaties signed by all member states and the Charter of Fundamental Rights. Critical thinking and pluralism can be guaranteed by case teaching. Left is about knowledge, right, through stories we feel the EU. We have selected cases decided by the Court of Justice of the EU. Cases are real happened stories about people like you and me, who all at once discovered that EU rules impacted on their daily lives, and they went to court. As you know, the 27 member states of the EU are equal. All should respect the same rules. The Court of Justice in Luxembourg takes care of a uniform interpretation of EU law for all citizens. Take the example of Verein. Pascal Verein was an employer. He published job vacancies for workers to install his garage doors. But he declared in the media that he would not hire Moroccans because he said, Moroccans do not want, my customers do not want Moroccans to work in their private houses. It came to court, and the Center for Equality said, this is discrimination based on ethnic origin or race, forbidden under the EU treaties and charter. Pascal Verein said, I did not discriminate anyone individually. The Belgian judge hesitated, and he asked question to the Court of Justice. Lightning. A conflict between 2 parties may raise discussions on deeper lying tensions. Here, there is an EU right to equal treatment and the value of equality. But let me challenge you. What about the EU freedom to conduct a business? For Verein, freedom is an EU value too. Cases very often ask a balancing of rights and interests in society. And that is an occasion to learn about the rationale of EU rules and to discuss them. So if you had a hammer as a judge, what would you decide? Another question in the case of Verein is, what has the EU to do with it, with this Belgian problem? Fair play in an internal market presupposes a level playing field. All players should respect the fundamental rules, such as non-discrimination on various grounds. This example shows how we start with a story of garage doors, we find the EU rights, and then we delve deeper into the DNA of the EU, the values, the objectives, the principles. And here we feel what the EU is about and where are the challenges. Such an EU dimension in citizenship education should not be like a topping added to a cake at the end. In reality, the EU dimension is not on the cake, but in the cake, in the kneading of the dough. The EU is active in many areas. And all these areas have interesting cases for citizenship education. Health, social Europe, refugees, working time, agriculture, consumer protection. Educators can choose cases in their field of interest. They can introduce political, social, philosophical, or ethical debates and concern many key competences for lifelong learning. Many stories are available. They make EU learning attractive, and they prove the power of active citizens. A simple student, a fisherman, an air hostess, they have won from giant parties like Facebook, Google, or member states. Their EU citizens have changed European society. So wake up, citizens. Know your EU rights and obligations. Discuss them. Change them by participating in democratic life. Case teaching is a valuable tool to empower for active citizenship. Let us take you by the hand and lead you to the streets of the EU. We are developing a casebook for teachers or educators in informal learning with 8 modules, a bundle of 40 case cards, didactic cards, and mastercards. Now most is in Dutch, but we start to work in English with the College of Europe. That brings me back to the bridge. Case for EU. Is it a case for you? Can you take up the torch? Each on our square meter, we can give a push for democracy in the EU, also NECE. That is my dream. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Are you relieved? That went beautifully. Well done. You're on mute. You're on mute at the moment, Chris.
It is not easy to give your message in 20-second slides.
Yes, but you did it beautifully. You set a shining example for the rest. So in fact, we're going to turn to Emily now. And Emily, would you like to just say a couple of words before I open your presentation?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Emily. I'm the head of education for the Social Enterprise Academy, and we're based in Scotland.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. The same procedure we just had. I'll open your presentation. Sorry, let's get out of this one. There we go. And here we are. And it will be a 3, 2, 1 countdown, Emily. Okay. So 3, 2, 1.
So I want to start with a question and ask you, when you think of a young person who is an active citizen, what words come to mind? Do you perhaps think of someone who's community focused, who feels like they can create positive change in the world? Perhaps you think of growth mindset. Now, when a crisis happens, whether it's a local or a global crisis, as we've all experienced, how might community connected young active citizens react? They might start to notice needs around them. They might become solution focused. And it's evident that they're willing to try and then fail and then get up and try again. So how can citizenship education support young people to be active citizens and restart Europe for the better? Well, it can support young people to feel that bit more connected to local and to global. If it's youth-led learning, it cuts to the heart of the issue, and real life experiences are meaningful and they embed that learning across the school life for that young person. So you may be wondering who we are. Well, we are a social change organisation supporting adults and young people all around the world to access transformative learning and development that helps them thrive, be their best and achieve greater social impact. Our vision is a society that combines economic activity with community benefit. We work with young people because of the potential they have to change the world when they are active citizens, community-minded, and have experience setting up a social or environmental focused business. This shift towards an entrepreneurial mindset gives them the confidence to be job creators as they join the employment market and our schools program supports them to set up real-life, youth-led, sustainable social enterprises. So what's the impact on young people? This is a quote from one of our students in London. Said, "It makes me feel really good knowing what we're doing is helping people's families. The school really liked the idea we had, and it shows that sometimes it's the students that have the good ideas." So why do we use social enterprise as the tool for delivering this type of learning? Well, if someone engages with the learning heart first, where the very first question they're asked is, what do you care about? What would you change in the world if you could? Then motivation, engagement, and self-belief is high. The enterprise is the means to the resources they need to tackle their chosen issue and also develops a wide range of skills. So how do teachers engage with this program? This is a quote from one of our teachers in a Glasgow school. They're saying that change will only happen if we give our young people the knowledge, tools, and the belief that they can make the difference. Being involved in a social enterprise project will help to sow the seeds of change. Our schools coordinators support teachers along the learning journey to ensure sustainability. And our methodology is based on the following principles. People at the heart of the issue know the solutions. They just need to be empowered and supported to access resources to create change. Young people are the ones who are best placed to know how to solve the issues that surround them. Our second principle is that having someone with lived experience in the room is really valuable. So our wonderful facilitators who work with the young people all have social enterprise backgrounds. They upskill teachers through professional development sessions, and they inspire the pupils at the start of the journey through workshops tailored to the needs of the group. This is for all young people, no matter the age, ability, or background. The final principle is that peer learning is extremely valuable. Between young people, perhaps in the same school, especially if they haven't worked together before, between young people at different schools who meet at various events, and between teachers and school staff and community members. Our schools program's been running for 14 years, and our offer has developed over that time, especially in light of the current situation. We're doing a little bit more online. The stages across the year remain the same. We just adapt them to the young person and the situation. We start with teacher sessions to introduce this type of learning to teachers, then pupil workshops, Dragon's Dens, and an awards ceremony at the end of the year. As an organisation, we have 14 partner hubs all around the world who offer adult learning programmes, and we're currently developing the schools programme in 4 of those countries. Since 2007, we've worked with over 1,400 schools, 3,000 teachers, and over 55,000 young people. The Scotland pilot began 14 years ago, the Australia one 6 years ago. We ran a Malawi pilot last year and one in London earlier this year. We're also starting one in Egypt later this month and in South Africa later this year. We would love to bring the schools programme to other parts of Europe as well, so watch this space. So why is this programme so powerful and transformative for the young people taking part? Not only do they get asked a really important question that they don't get asked very often, what do you care about? But trying to unpick, it's not the issue that you heard at home, it's not the issue that you saw on social media, it's something that really matters to you. They're also given time, resources and support to actually do something about it. So we start with the heart. I'll share with you what I would change in the world if I could. My daughter is of mixed heritage, her dad's African. And when she was just 2, someone shouted racist abuse at her. No one else on the bus that we were on spoke up and said anything about it at all. So what I would change in the world is encouraging bystanders to speak up and support victims of racism, because that matters to me. So I want to ask you what you would do something about. You don't need to know how you would tackle it. I just want you to think in your head the one thing you would change in the world if you could. So you have that issue in your head. Imagine if I now said you have the next year, the next 5 years, some support, some time and some resources to actually go ahead and do something about that thing you're passionate about. Imagine how motivated you would feel to create that positive change because it's come from you. Well, that is the experience we are giving to young people who take part in our programme, and that is why education like this matters. We are very friendly people, I promise. Please do get in touch if you have any questions at all, either through Housebase and the other conference channels, or visit our website here. You'll see many examples of school-based social enterprises there and hear from the young people involved through our videos. and feel free to follow us on social media as well. But I will end with my favourite quote about growth mindset by Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So let's support young people to truly believe that they can do whatever they set their hearts and minds to, and always believe that no matter what life throws at them. Thank you very much.
Your timing is excellent, Emily. Did you notice how the last line just disappeared as you finished up? Wonderful. Okay, I'd like to hand over at this point to Meili. Would you just like to say a couple of words, Meili, and before we kick off?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Meili, working at Studio Europe Maastricht. You will find out more about us in a while.
Okay, so let's have a look at your presentation. There we go. Let's hop out of here. And there we go. Again, I'll be counting down from 3 to 1. So 3, 2, 1. Let's try that now. Okay.
Hello, everyone. This picture shows where it all began, in Maastricht, 91-92. Since then, the city is famous with the Treaty of Maastricht, which gives us actually the ground of the European integration so far. It was a big experiment which carries on today. The city became a place to debate Europe. And this becoming debate Europe received a new life a couple of years ago, 25 years of Treaty of Maastricht celebration. And in that moment, the city and different stakeholders decided to start a permanent organization. A permanent organization which is in Maastricht, which fosters debate, fosters and stimulates research and so on. I will tell you later more. Maastricht is placed for this because we are surrounded by so many countries and is a real European place in a small city. These are the people who founded us, the government of the province of Limburg, the city of Maastricht, and the University of Maastricht founded Studio Europe Maastricht in 2018. Our mission is to stimulate active critical debate with citizen engagement with European citizenship as its core. And we are a center of excellence. This is the first big focus point. We do research with a special focus on citizen science and valorization. And we organize debate series for everyone, valorize the research we are conducting, and focus on all year-round activities for everyone living in and around Maastricht to foster a big European dialogue in the city of European Union's founding place. And of course, we do also different activities focusing on the Treaty of Maastricht, which is also visible and visitable in the city of Maastricht, and with educational activities for especially young citizens, but also events for everyone. We foster the impacts of this treaty in today's life. Yes. For example, in Maastricht Europe Days, one of the big events we organize every year for everyone, in which all these three aspects come together: research, the heritage label of Maastricht from the Treaty of Maastricht, and the debate and dialogue activities we are organizing. The fourth and also very important focus of our organizations is that we identify ourselves as a regional hub. We bring different NGOs and organizations, policymakers together who work on Europe, on making Europe a better place in Maastricht and around this city. We do organize an event like Workplace, which is called, it is an event for citizens, engaged citizens in volunteer organizations, but also NGOs and policymakers who come together and make their own agenda, make their own discussion points to discuss about the future of Europe in Maastricht. This is one of the examples, which is called Here in Europa, which was born through our hub activities, in which we brought different partners from the region together to make a research of Europe's role in daily life on a very local level in the outskirts of Maastricht in a neighborhood. In this project Here in Europa, we focus on 3 topics. The first topic is the Green Deal, which is coming to European Union, as you might know, and what is the effect of green transition on a very local level. And we are actually from tomorrow on organizing some debates about these topics I am presenting to you now. Next to Green Deal, we focused in this project Here in Europa about the international cooperation of police and security organizations like Europol. And of course, the effects of this international cooperation on a local level for just normal citizens in Maastricht, anywhere in Europe. But also we, as third and last topic of Here in Europa, we made a research about entrepreneurs, about people running their shops just on a very local level. How do they manage this corona pandemic, but also online shops and so on. Many global challenges are affecting also many entrepreneurs on a local level. And Europe do have lots of effects. European regulations have lots of effects on these 3 topics, as you might know. And before shops are closed because of global economical issues, it's a challenge which we face also on a local level, but of course with lots of European and even global effects. This is the map we made after 3 months of research period in the project of Here in Europa. And you can find out many different stories, 26 stories, focusing on these 3 topics I just mentioned to you. One of the results we found out on a very local research with Europe's impact, with impacts of the European treaties like Maastricht Treaty on a local level, is that this local identity, which has lots of parallel points with today's Europe, because in Europe we are also living in a very diverse environment. And from the stories we collected during our research period, we will make an exhibition on the streets of the neighborhood we were in the last months in the project of Here in Europa, and we will share the stories of local people again with them. And we don't leave it like this. We also keep on going, discussing and debating on European issues. For example, these 3 topics I just mentioned in this project will be debated with local citizens from tomorrow on in the next 3 weeks in the neighborhood of Maastricht, which is called Haigh. And finishing my example, this is one of our many examples we conducted the last 2 years actually as Studio Europe Maastricht. I want to ask you, where is your personal Here in Europe, on your daily life, on your local reality? Where do you see Europe, or exactly where you don't see Europe like you know it? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Millie. Well done. What a lot of information you managed to pack into that. Excellent. So we're handing over now to Melina and Marina. Would you like to unmute yourselves?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Marina Cino Pagliarello. I am a research director of the project Civic Education and Populism, and I'm here today with Melina Agnol, who is one of the members of our team, and I'm going to say a bit more on the project in a few seconds. So thank you so much.
Okay, so I'll start sharing the screen now. And we'll have a look here at your project again. 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, welcome to this presentation. Our project looks at the role of civic education and populism. And in particular, we are going to present, first of all, a bit of overview of our project, and then a bit more of the fieldwork we did on civic education. So first of all, what is our project about? Our project is part of a network of a do think tank called 89 Initiative, and you can visit us and you can join us. And the key aim, as I think said by many of you, in particular Chris, is to wake up young people, and reconnect them to Europe. And within this project on civic education and populism, we are 4 team members, and we are also doing not only academic research on civic education and populism, but also several policy initiatives and public engagement. And you can visit us in our website. And I now handle the floor to Malina, who will present a bit why populism and civic education.
So over the past 20 years, votes for populists have tripled. But what exactly is populism? There isn't one clear-cut definition of populism. However, the key point is that it is an ideology where that considers society to be split into 2 groups, the corrupt elite versus the pure people. But among young people, there has been an increase in support for populist as well as authoritarian candidates during elections, with only 1/3 of Americans under 40 thinking that it is essential to live in democracy. And even more scary, more and more people not thinking that democracy is the best form of government. But let us have a look at the EU level. Here you can see that on average, 52% agree that democracy is the best form of government. However, we see huge differences. For example, in France and Poland, only 42% think so, which is less than half of the young people. But let us have a look at those who don't think democracy is the best form of government. Here you can see that most people would prefer the rule of experts or a technocracy, closely followed by either direct democracy, monarchy, socialism, but even by autocracy, which is quite shocking to me personally. So, populism as an educational problem. We have seen so many studies over the last couple of years focusing on economic problems, for example, or modernization theory. We, however, think that it is the lack of proper civic education that leads to an increase in populism. Because what is the goal of civic education? If you look at it, civic education has the goal of increasing democratic attitudes and foster the ability to think critically. And the more participatory these approaches are, the higher is the expected future political participation, such as, for example, projects as MUN. So civic education is carried out differently throughout Europe. However, it should always include the 4 dimensions of civic education. First and foremost, obviously, it should help to act democratically and socially responsible, but also it should help to foster effective interactions and to think and reflect critically. As mentioned, it is being taught completely different in all European countries. For example, in Germany, populism and fake news are covered by the curriculum, whereas, for example, in Estonia, entrepreneurship is covered in the curriculum, but there isn't one coherent concept here in Europe.
So what we are about to do some field work in 6 member states to understand how civic education is exactly taught in the classroom. What is the content? For the moment, we did some pilot studies in Italy and in England, focus group and interviews. In particular, regarding Italy, we know that civic education in Italy actually born at the end of 1948, because there was the end of the monarchy, the republic, so civic education was mainly considered disrespect of the law, disrespect of the constitutions and of rules. And populism is not even mentioned in any curricula. This is, for instance, some quotes from students saying civic education is not considered as important in schools, many times is not even taught. And there are also some issues regarding the training of teachers in civic education, because mainly several teachers can teach civic education, so lack of training. In the UK, we have also seen a growing disengagement of young people. As this graph shows, the turnout has been very, very low. We have seen a bit of increase with Brexit and with the recent elections, but the feeling is that young people are really so detached from political institutions. civic education in England is pretty recent, and one of the most famous report is the Crick report that was aiming at this conception of, this open and liberal citizen with personal values and so on. However, even in England, civic education has been strictly connected to a very narrow definition and, this vision of the British values. And even here, these are quotes from A-level politics students in London that complain the lack of political literacy in the curricula, the lack of knowledge regarding political manifestos, and so on. Of course, we all hope that Brexit might be an opportunity to rethink citizenship education. We have seen in several debates how people said, okay, there was the lack of knowledge regarding the EU. So this is one of the hope, and this is what we are going to examine in the current months when the COVID-19 will enable us again to go in schools. So our final message is bridge the gap. We already have some curricula on civic education. We have the willingness from students and teachers. However, there is still this gap between implementation and legislation. So we hope with our project to contribute to this as well. Thank you very much. And if you want to find out more, we for some reason our slides was not uploaded, but 89initiative.com, and you can download our report, our full study on civic education in Italy and England. And if you stay tuned, you will find out more about other member states in the coming months. And I shall stop here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ladies. That was a wonderful tandem. And in fact, we're going to finish with a second tandem, but this time we have the guys stepping up to the plate. So Peter and Niels, would you like to say a word of welcome?
Well, hello from me. My name is Petar Nacev, and I'm Communication Officer at the Council of the European Union.
Yes, hi, my name is Niels Dekker, and I'm a freelance educator working for the Council on an education package right now.
Wonderful. Okay, guys, then I'm just about to start your presentation. Same format as we've had. Let's move along to yours. And 3, 2, 1.
So, as you heard, we are here to present you our work on a civic education package for the EU Council. And saying EU Council, I mean the Council of the European Union and the European Council, those two institutions for which we are working. What is the most important fact for our two institutions? It is that 27 EU countries, their national leaders and ministers, who are working together with sometimes diverse interests, but they manage to work together and deliver EU policies that affect everyday life of all European citizens. And because the decisions taken by the 27 countries have impact on people's lives, we do have a lot of communication activities, as you can imagine, among the traditional ones being press, social media, etc. However, our team deals with broader outreach activities. So why do we need a civic education package? Because we want to better structure our materials and activities for the civic education practitioners, teachers, professors, etc. We started our work on a concept study in June with analysis of the existing materials and how they fit into different audiences. In the autumn, we would have a concept, and next spring, we aim to have a teaching method with a step-by-step manual for practitioners. All these would be available in all 24 EU languages and free of charge, of course. We have identified our target groups as 12 to 25-year-olds, and our materials are for the learners, for those willing to know more about the EU and specifically about the Council, but they should help also the teachers and facilitate their work. In the European Union, you know that we have 27 countries with diverse and various educational systems. The package objective is to serve all educational levels, and everyone would be able to find their materials. And now I hand it to Niels, please.
Yes, thank you, Petar. Well, to make sure, I don't think it's running. Yes. To make sure that we can develop this package, we really need your feedback on how space. So that's what we're doing. We're presenting you our strategy, and you can go to the house space page and give us your feedback. There's some questions already there. So our target group is between 12 and 25 years old for all educational levels in the EU. So that's hundreds of educational systems within those 27 member states. And we found a way to deal with this. I will tell you in a moment, but we got help for this from educational experts, professionals all over the EU. So 27 member states, and they helped us to gain insights in their systems and also about citizenship education, how they teach this, and the EU in the curriculum. I don't think it's running, but we'll see. The PowerPoint, there's many differences that we found within these systems, as Marina and Melina already told us. There's differences in how they teach citizenship education, but there's also differences in the systems itself. Some are really complex and really difficult to understand as an outsider looking in, and some of them are more straightforward. And what you can see is there's many cultural aspects which are defining the educational system of member state. I'll just wait. I need the slide for the next one, I think.
We cannot hear you, Tanya. You're muted.
I do apologize. The technology has abandoned us at this moment. I'm just opening your presentation.
Yeah.
Niels, and I'm just going to run it as a PowerPoint.
That's okay. From slide 11, if possible.
From slide 11, okay. I'm sorry, my system is just reacting very slowly, but I'll be right with you. Here we go. Would you just like to say a couple of words, Niels, about what you've mentioned up to now, and I'll be able to share the screen again with you in just a second?
Yes, of course. As we've mentioned, we're working on a civic education package for the council, about the council and about the EU, and it has to serve our target group between 12 and 25 from all educational levels from all member states. So that's hundreds of different educational levels that we want to serve, and we want the package to fit all the educational needs that are within these target groups. So that's quite a challenge. And what we found is many differences in the systems because they are quite complex. Sometimes some are pretty straightforward, and cultural aspects have a big part in this. Because it's the culture defines the educational system.
Okay, what we're going to do, Niels, I'm very sorry, but we're going to go, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go into house space and we're going to use the PDF.
Yeah.
Okay, so just one moment, please. I think my whole system's having a nervous breakdown, actually. Oh dear. Ah, okay. We now have share, and I have your slide up. There we go. We can actually now look at it in PowerPoint. All right. So 1 second. We'll have. I'm sorry, everything is just now has a real lag behind it, but there we go. And 11. Okay, it's just not taking any of the instructions here. There we go. And here we come.
Yes.
Your slide.
We also found many similarities between these educational systems. For instance, it's not the same as Melina and Marina just told us, but there's many similarities in teaching citizenship education, because nearly all systems have a way to teach citizenship and teach about the EU. And to serve all of these educational needs, we made 4 categories. Mainly divided for ages and the way of learning. So you can see here upper secondary education, practical learners and theoretical learners. And for 3rd level education, you can see practical learners and theoretical learners as well, between 17 and 25. This is to, well, you might understand that a university student needs something else to learn than a practical learner, pre-vocational school student that's 12. So that's why we made the 4 categories, and we will have an educational package fit for all these 4 categories. And I had a question for you because I thought I could see you, but maybe the other participants in the Zoom session can do this. But think of your group and see if you can find them in these categories. So you lean to the left for no and lean to the right for yes. And if you follow this on the Facebook live stream, you can maybe give us a thumbs up or type yes or no in the comments. And otherwise you can go to Housepace and answer our questions. It's up there as a question as well. So it would really help us if you give us some feedback on this. Petar, up to you again.
Just to summarize again our starting point, we have already a lot of materials, a lot for young people and for learners. Some of them being not physical materials, but visits and information sessions that we organize, EU back to school to university, simulation games, different videos, and you see on the screen a screenshot of one of the videos. In all of these materials, we try to show how the 27 countries work together and how they bring benefits to the life of European citizens. So we asked ourselves, how do people know how to use those existing materials? And that's how we started work on this civic education package.
Yes, and that's what we propose as our strategy now, is to see if you can accompany existing materials with new teaching methods. So for instance, you can see here an EU-Europeans video, and maybe we can make a teaching method which discusses the video, or students compare different member states, and these 2 together will become the educational package. And the educational package will be easy to implement for the teacher. It will be ready to use. All the materials will be online and teachers can download them, and there will be a step-by-step manual to get them through this. So it's easy to implement and fit for the educational needs of the students, of the educational professionals that use this package in their classrooms.
So thank you for being with us, and we look forward to working with you and to your feedback. Nils already typed some questions in the house space, and I added the email address where you can also give us your feedback.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for keeping your cool in this moment of emergency. Yes. So again, I apologize. Technology was not with us the whole way. I would just like to remind everybody, I'm going to share the screen just for one moment. Please remember that we have our house-based pages. It's been mentioned numerous times now, and that there are questions waiting for you. So please feel free to hop onto the page, engage, look at the questions that are being asked. I'm sure there's no question of how valuable your own input is and how critical it is to many of these projects to get for what is actually the next steps that they wish to be taking. So I'm going to stop sharing there and hand over to Yannick. If I could stop sharing, that would be great. Yannick, can you, oh, there we go. Here we are. Yannick, if the screen's not reacting, can you just stop the sharing from your end as the host?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
It's not really working here either.
Yes, there's a minor problem going on. Okay, but you had a last couple of words that you wanted to say, Yannick?
Exactly, that is all. Thank you very, very much for being here with us today, dear speakers of today's Pechacha sessions. This was, as I mentioned before, the very first time the NECE Campus went live on Facebook. Thank you to our digital audience who was with us even in the most difficult technical moments. And remember that this live stream is also available as a video on Facebook to watch afterwards. As Tanya also mentioned, we have a Housebase page for the event where you can comment and react to the questions posted. And thank you last but definitely not least to Tanya herself for facilitating this meeting today for us. Please stay tuned for the next NECE Campus events. This is the first of actually 4 Pechacha sessions that we have. So there's still 3 coming up. But what is next first is a workshop by Polyspective on debating Europe, an online simulation game on the European Parliament, which is tomorrow from 10 to 12 a.m. Berlin time. So make sure to still register for one of the open slots and check out the whole campus program on nece-conference.eu. Thank you very much and have a nice rest of the day.